The Senate's version of the healthcare bill is now out in the wild, and it's basically as disastrous as we've been warning you for weeks now that it would be, although some of the specifics are a little bit different, and we're going to attempt to break down as much of it as is possible. So you're gonna wanna buckle up because it is a lot to take in all at once. We're gonna be starting off though with how it changes Medicaid funding, or I should say how it massively cuts Medicaid funding. The Senate bill allows the 31 states that expanded Medicaid to continue getting federal funding through 2023 with reduced funding starting in 2021. The bill sharply curtails federal support for Medicaid expansion in 2024, likely causing many states to end the expansion. Separate from the expansion, the bill caps future federal funding per enrollee based on how much each state has spent historically. And so what you've got here is a little bit of an attempt to hide their goal. They don't want it to be as immediately apparent as in the House bill that they are going to kill this thing. And so they drag it out over the course of a few years. And so they delay its death, and then they sort of hide how they're gonna kill it funding wise. But the end result is very similar. And the CBO estimated that similar policies in the bill passed by the House would cut more than $800 billion from the program over a decade, which you can of course add to the proposed budget from Donald Trump, which cuts $600 billion from Medicaid there. And so we're talking about a massive cut to it, despite his many promises that he would defend it and there would be no cuts.
Yeah, so real quick on that, the Senate version, which was supposed to be more moderate than the House version, cuts more for Medicaid than the House version does. So when you find the more moderate version of a Republican, please let me know. Okay. They've been missing for decades. And maybe at the state level, some exist, but certainly at the national level, very few and far between. Some Republicans did complain about this bill. They complained it was not draconian enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna break down some of what they want a little bit later on.
Right. Now, John's got more for you on the details. And at the end, I'll tell you the effect of how they are going to cut your coverage, and give you specific details so you know how it affects you.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason we started with Medicaid here is that's the single biggest reason that in the House version so many are going to lose their coverage. There's other reasons as well, and they are in the Senate version. But the biggest single question I think that a lot of people who perhaps haven't known much about the bill might have is, does this result in millions upon millions of Americans losing their coverage? And we've been waiting to find out, and now we know, yes, it will cut millions, possibly 10, possibly 20 million or more. We'll know once the CBO has a chance to take a look at it, and hopefully we'll know before they vote this thing into law. But let's move on to the subsidies. So how is this bill going to modify the way that your ability to afford health insurance actually goes down? So under the Affordable Care Act, it sets subsidies based on income, which sort of makes sense. If you don't make a lot of money, you're gonna need more help paying for ever increasing health insurance prices. It also tied them to a benchmark plan. So the second cheapest plan in a person's area that covers on average 70% of expected health costs is based on that. Well, they make a couple changes in the Senate bill. It resets the benchmark plan to one that only covers 58% of expected health costs there. And that is for all of them, not just for the second worst. So we assumed that for many people there would be lower subsidies, but we didn't know that for almost literally every single individual you're going to be paying thousands of dollars more per year.
They, of course, Orwellian style named it the Better Care Act, but that right there shows you it is literally worse care.
And you will pay more for that worse care.
Yeah. So if you were covering 70% of an enrollee's costs, and now you're covering 58%. Well, that again, by definition, it means you're paying more. You're gonna pay more for your. Remember why they complain about Obamacare? Oh, we're paying too much. We're paying too much. Now you're gonna pay more. So what do they fix? You know what they fixed. They didn't fix anything for you. Why do all these cuts to Medicaid, increase your healthcare costs, etc., for one and only one purpose? Because there's a giant tax cut at the end for the rich.
Yeah, we got all the details on that coming up. So on the major part of the subsidies, they're going to sort of, I mean, look, to break down exactly how it's going to affect you, you'd have to look at charts. And the reason they do that is they want you to be confused about it. And so in those subsidies, you're going to be paying more, your coverage is going to be worse, but some people might be confused about that. On the particular area of subsidies that are for out-of-pocket expenses on your health insurance, there's no games like that. The Senate bill preserves them until 2019, then eliminates them altogether. They're just gone.
Gone.
Totally gone there. And so, but don't worry, I'm sure the person who is very worried about their out-of-pocket health insurance costs, once it's eliminated, they'll just take it out of their investments, I guess. It'll be no problem, don't worry about it. So look, there's some of the ways that money is being modified here, but we're not just interested in how much more you're gonna have to pay for your health insurance. We're interested in what your health insurance is worth to you. What does it actually cover and what does it not cover? And they've got some pretty devastating changes coming there as well. The bill allows states to apply for waivers for a number of different things, like the House bill, including eliminating essential health benefits coverage, which sounds bad even just when you read it like that.
Yeah, well, don't worry guys, this is gonna be better care, except you'll no longer have essential health benefits.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
It's too bad. I thought they were essential. And I mean, we're talking about some pretty big things there, like mental health coverage and addiction related coverage, also things like pregnancy and maternity care. I mean, there's a chance that some of you might want to get pregnant someday. I know it's rare, but some of you might want to and expect that you might pay tens of thousands of dollars more after this change.
If you're a woman, that might seem essential to you, but if you're a dude, it's not. So get point, counterpoint.
Yeah.
And this was, of course, done by Mitch McConnell's office, filled to the rim with dudes. So they're like, hey, any of you guys think maternity care is essential? No, all right, we're all agreed, not essential anymore, we're moving forward.
Yeah. And by the way, on that same graphic, in addition to allowing them to opt out of the essential benefits coverage, as we previewed a little bit over a week ago, they are also going to be getting rid of the prohibitions on annual and lifetime limits, which means that if inside of a year or in the course of your entire lifetime, if you get really sick, especially with chronic illnesses and it costs a lot, they can cap you out and your health insurance, which again, you'll be paying more for, will suddenly be worthless to you. And
I gotta pause on that too, because to me that's one of the most devastating parts of this. What the hell is the point of insurance if you can get capped out? So, okay, look, I break my arm, you pay for it, we'll all survive, right? And okay, that's one part of insurance. I don't know if that's non-essential now.
Like an emergency, right? Sort of.
Yeah, the other temporary things that can get solved. But the more important part of insurance is, if I get cancer, are you gonna cover me? Well, if you say, yeah, I'm gonna cover you for the first 10,000, 100,000, make it up, right? 250,000. Okay, good, but what if it goes longer than that? What if it's really bad? Well, then you die.
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute, like. Or, hey, well, don't you have a couple of $1 million to cover it? No, that's why I got insurance, right? And if insurance is allowed to say, I'll only cover the cheap stuff, but if you get something serious, I mean, obviously I'm gonna let you die.
Yeah.
That's not real insurance.
And it's in the bill. Yeah, now imagine if you have a kid and the kid has some sort of genetic issue or some sort of childhood cancer, which is a tragedy of its own. Well, welcome lifetime limits. That kid may find by the time they hit 10 or 20 or 30, that's it for them for the rest of their life. And I saw somebody tweeted about that and a Trump supporter responded with, well, then that kid's just gonna have to rely on the community or charities or something like that.
Oh,
and there was a response, imagine being the Timmy needs bootstraps guy when it comes to childhood cancer treatments. But that's in the bill, that is not just a Twitter conversation, that could be law soon.
No, let's just remember that this is the party that calls itself pro-life. Oh, you get pregnant, hey, it ain't essential to me, man. But wait a minute, I thought you wanted to protect the baby. I mean, I want to make sure that I put restrictions on how you deal with your own medical issues, but protect the baby. No, no. You pay for it any way you like, and if you can't pay for it, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and if your baby's sick, I definitely don't want to protect it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in your life, okay? Pro-life's a gimmick. It doesn't actually mean that I'm going to pass laws to put that into effect.
Yeah, and look, I know we're throwing a lot at you, but I got a couple things coming up that There's a lot of coverage, thankfully, of this Senate bill. Although, interestingly, I noticed not a lot on either Breitbart or Fox News. For some reason, the conservatives aren't that interested in it. But there's a couple of things that I've noticed, even in the coverage of it, is not getting nearly enough discussion. I think that some people are missing important points of this. And one has to do with coverage for pre-existing conditions. So it was revealed this morning that the bill still requires coverage for pre-existing conditions. And so a lot of people are thinking, oh my God, that's great, victory. They're not going to reverse on that. Although, of course, they could once they mesh it with the House bill, which allows you to stop that. But what they're missing is that pre-existing conditions, that's one thing in rhetoric, but what is it actually worth? Well, it's not worth nearly as much if they have to cover you for the pre-existing conditions, but not for a number of things that are no longer considered essential, and they don't have to cover you for that. Or if they have to cover you for pre-existing conditions, but only up to a certain amount per year or over the course of your life because of these new lifetime and annual limits. They will hide behind saying that they're still covering pre-existing conditions, but you might well find that in your experience, the experience of someone in your family, it is not worth a damn in practice. And a lot of people are being drawn in by the hype of it still being in there, not realizing that they are being swindled.
I mean, look, you name it, dozens of diseases, but rare disease, hepatitis, cancer, whatever. Think about the year-long cap. So let's say that you're in a world of trouble, you're getting treatment, God, thank God you made it to October. Oh no, you hit your yearly cap. Anyway, November and December is dying season, enjoy. What does that mean, a yearly cap?
Don't worry, you're still covered for your pre-existing condition.
What is that? What does a yearly cap mean? That's insane. Then it's not really insurance. What if you hit the cap in April? Hey, listen, hang on till January 1st. After January 1st, we're back to being pro-life for a couple of months.
Yeah. Yes, I've experienced that for little things. Like I hit my dental cap last year. It's teeth, I'll live. But it's not my life. I was able to go a few months before having a little bit more done. But if it's your life, if it's your child's life, imagine. And they are trying to make that law right now. Another area where they're going to screw you over, one of the things that the ACA protected against was hugely disparate costs for insurance between the youngest and the oldest Americans. Obviously, older Americans generally going to have higher health insurance costs. Doesn't necessarily mean that insurance shouldn't be allowed to charge them as much as they possibly want. Well, that's about to change. So we can bring up this graphic comparing the difference in restrictions on charging more for older Americans. The new bill will allow older customers to be charged 5 times or more than the younger ones.
Okay, so silver lining here, there's actually only one other group than the incredibly rich that benefit from this new proposal, and that's the young and healthy. So if you're young and healthy, you don't have the mandate anymore, you can skip out on insurance and try to roll the dice and see how it goes for you. Or even if you get the insurance, it costs less for you because the insurance for young and healthy doesn't cost that much because you almost never use it. So the insurance companies go, okay, yeah, I'll charge you less. But the trade-off for that is, well, if you're older, I'm gonna charge you a lot more. Yeah. And that's when you need it more. So they're allowed to charge you 5 times as much.
Yeah, and on individual procedures, it can be far more than that. And there's a lot of people right now that are young, and a lot of those people think that they're healthy. Some of them actually are, but most are not nearly as healthy as they think they are. I know what the American diet does to Americans. And you might be in good shape now, you might feel good now. In 6 to 10 years, you're going to desperately need this coverage, and you might find yourself paying far more for it.
But besides which, I mean, look, they told you older Americans that that we got your back, and a lot of older Americans voted much more heavily towards Republicans.
Yeah.
Now they just said, we were just messing with you, man. Of course my buddy's got to get tax cuts. No, you're gonna pay 5 times more. Wait a minute, I thought the main thing against Obamacare was that it costs too much.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay 5 times more if you're a senior citizen. Well, good luck, brother.
They'll be fine, don't worry, old people don't vote. But anyway, another thing that I think a lot of people covering this are missing, I've seen 1 or 2 discussions of it, but generally it's not being covered nearly enough, is a component in this bill that will, in just a few years, absolutely kill the entire system. It's designed to do that, and not enough people are recognizing it. So you had the individual mandate in the ACA, a lot of people hated it. A lot of right-wingers, a lot of left-wingers absolutely hated it. This bill eliminates both the individual mandate and the employer mandate, where if you had more than 50 employees, you had to provide health insurance. Unlike the House bill, which has the continuing coverage thing, which is its own disaster, this has no replacement for that. So think about how that actually functions in practice. Now you have a system that's increasingly expensive, that needs more and more money coming in. You now, under the Senate bill, have nothing requiring relatively or fully healthy people to be in the system. They can just opt out. There's no fee for that, there's no penalty for that. The penalty's still in law, but it will be $0 under the Senate bill, which means that after a year, after 2 years, especially after 5 years, the only people that will be in this system are the people who are sick. Which, if you want to talk about a death spiral, and they love that idea, they love pretending that Obamacare is in a death spiral now, they have designed in a death spiral to the Senate bill. It will kill the entire system. It's meant to kill the entire system because they don't want to be in the system with you. You sick, relatively poor people, they want to be on their own, like nice, gilded health insurance policies, while you pay ever increasing amounts until finally you're kicked off of your insurance in a few years.
Yeah, because if healthy people aren't in insurance, first of all, it's not real insurance. Second of all, what you have is prices that go way up because the insurance company understandably goes, wait a minute, everybody that has this insurance is really sick. It's gonna cost me a lot of money. So I'm gonna charge you an arm and a leg, maybe quite literally. And so, wait, let's review again what the problem with Obamacare was. It cost too much money. So, and McConnell, when in January talked about, oh, look at the problems with Obamacare, it doesn't cover enough people. You just chopped off at least 20 million people, very likely according to the CBO's measuring of the House bill and what it's gonna do with the Senate bill, we'll find out, but about 20 million people off Medicare, so yours covers less. It costs way more for the majority of people based on some of the provisions that John just explained. It can cost so much that it's completely untenable for you to have it.
Yeah, which means far more people. That's outside of the 20 million.
And it covers less. So which part got better? Oh, right. The hundreds of billions of dollars in tax cuts for the rich. Young Turks now has over 6 billion lifetime views. You know who did that? You did that. We're now larger than CNN, ABC, you name a news network online, we're larger than them. And you built all that as everyone scoffed and didn't believe. And here we are, guys, thanks to you. Build independent media together with us at tytnetwork.com/join.